What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to talk about War of the Worlds, or as IMDb believes it's called, War of the Worlds Revival. So strap in, because this one is a doozy. I learned about this a couple days ago off of, I think somewhere around Comic-Con. I noticed they released a trailer for War of the Worlds starring Ice Cube and Eva Longoria. And I was like, all right. I didn't realize it was coming out as quickly as it was. But yeah, bam, it's here. It's already here. And I didn't watch the trailer because I don't really need to. Most of them aren't audio described anyway. They're not going to do anything for me. I spend most of the time when I go to theaters sitting there going, I don't know what the movie this is. What movie is this? I have no idea. What movie? I think I saw the Odyssey trailer in front of Fantastic Four. I'm just not sure that I did. I'm not like 100% sure. Maybe it was there, maybe it wasn't. Sometimes I'm able to figure out what movie I'm watching. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm aware of the cast. And I'm like, oh, so that person's there, that person's there, that person's there. Yeah, there's just no point. So I'm just not that drawn to trailers anymore. Every once in a while, somebody will audio describe one. Cool. But most of them are not. So I did not know what this movie was going to be. So alert! Missing persons unit. This is bad idea. But I guess Amazon wanted to make War of the Worlds. It's probably in public domain. I'm guessing that's why they're able to just do this. They're like, why haven't we done a War of the Worlds recently? I know we had that season, the series that was on MGM Plus. That we won't count that. I don't actually think I've actually liked a War of the Worlds thing that I've seen. I'm not a big fan of the Spielberg version with Tom Cruise and Dakota Fanning either. That's one of my least favorite Steven Spielberg movies. I know some people that are, and that's fine. I've heard the arguments as to the reasons why. When I saw it, I just didn't have a positive reaction to it. I could probably do a rewatch of it because it's been so long, and I've literally only seen that movie once, but the first time I saw it in theaters, I was bored to death. So, this movie's worse. This movie should have gone for the Steven Spielberg aspect for it and just updated and been like, okay, well, 20 years later, we have smartphones, we have all these other things, we have drones, how are we using these things to fight? It kind of does that, but then it also decides to cast Ice Cube as the world's greatest hacker, which is a fundamental error because he is not believable as this at all. He's not the world's best actor to begin with, but he's well cast often, so we get around it. People find the right roles for him, and either in comedy or in action, or I guess the one or two dramas he's done. But he seems to be able to always find the right role for himself. Here, for some reason, he's a hacker. And not only is he, but he's also the best one. He works for Department of Homeland Security. He's locked away in this room by himself. And we see him at the beginning, and he's just being a super creeper. Because all he does is he uses government technology to spy on his kids. That's it. He checks in on his daughter. He checks on his daughter's boyfriend. He checks in on his son. He's not really doing his job. And then later on, there's going to be this huge thing about Project Goliath and how it was an invasion of privacy. I was I don't know, Cube was doing the whole beginning part of the movie. I love that he tries to stand on some sort of moral high ground. I'm dude, you were just using your own ability and all this supercomputer shit around you to be able to, view and hack into things to check on how your kids are doing. There's almost nobody's in this cast, by the way. This film literally shot itself with 8 people because they shot it as if somebody asked the question, but what if? But what if we did War of the Worlds, but we did it on screens, Unfriended. So this is Unfriended, but War of the Worlds. It's That's what it is. So if you're thinking about like, oh, the new War of the Worlds movie, I really want to watch that. Do you really want to watch War of the Worlds on screens? Is that what you want to watch? Because it's going to bounce around from screen to screen to screen while Ice Cube sits in this room staring at computers. Um, he tries to leave. The film won't let him. He's able to hack through one door, but not the second door. So he hilariously cannot leave this building. Because he wants to like run out and save his daughter at one point. He's a widower. They've saddled him with that. It's not really necessary to the plot of the film, but it does give him one less person he has to rescue. And his daughter is grown and has this baby daddy, Devin Bostick, who is an Amazon delivery driver. And she's working on some genetic code to fight disease. So she's also a coder, but she's more like a genetic coder. And the son is like playing video games or something. I don't think it's funny later because the film decides he's also a super hacker like his father, and he knows all these things that his father doesn't know. And so, but he's there when the film needs him to be. That's the problem with the film, is it's so uneven. I'm spoilers, I don't even care. This film is not that smart or intelligent to like wow you. Within the first 5 minutes of this film, if you know anything about War of the Worlds, you'll figure out how this movie's going to end. You have a lead character who's a hacker who works with code, you know, like computer viruses and stuff like that, and he can't leave a room. How do you think this movie's going to end? Of course it's going to end that way. So, yeah, his son ends up uncovering like a government conspiracy and yelling at his dad about it. He's like, yeah, Goliath is real. He's like, Goliath isn't real. I would know. I am the government. That's my Ice Cube impersonation. He has such a hard time with some of his lines. The worst scene is when he's expected to make a presentation for the president, and they've given him this like technological lingo, and he's really having a hard time. He feels like there are cue cards at the back of the room, you know, like he's standing up there. Somebody's got his lines on cue cards. Like he can't get through these. I don't know. They have, some actors have people who punch up the dialogue for them. Ice Cube needed that here. He needed people to make it work for him because he was miscast and they didn't really care to make it work for him. They just were hoping that Ice Cube would bring people in. He's had some big hits in the past. He's turned some films into franchises. He's actually had several franchises. For being real honest, he's had Ride Along. He's had the Are We There Yet series that made multiple films. He's had Friday. He's been able to spawn a couple different things into franchises, and he's been a part of franchises, including XXX. So, yeah, he jumps in and out as needed in things, but he just is so weirdly, and Eva Longoria is, I don't know, she's like some sort of basically like the same level as him. She's also really great with computers, but she might also have some sort of like scientific knowledge about her. I struggled so hard with this movie. I think this movie is so much hot garbage. It's directed by this guy, Rich Lee, who basically has only done like music videos, which is so weird because you wouldn't do a music video that was completely from the perspective of somebody watching a computer screen. So it feels like it's the wrong person for this. This should have been given to somebody who has successfully done like a Paranormal Activity movie. Like, you branch out from like, do what you know. You know, like the guy who did, like earlier this year we got Bloat, and it was from the same team of the people who did like the other like-minded, like the one with John Cho and the one with Storm Reed, where they're all just like staring at their computer screens the whole time. So if you are making those movies and that guy makes War of the Worlds, it might be a little bit more interesting, but it still has to be well-funded, because in the scenes you still have to have, we still want to see aliens, we still want to see alien attacks. I've heard the visual effects look like garbage. They probably do, because they're trying really hard not to show sustained shots. It's all like people running around with camera phones. He's hacking into drone footage, which drone footage is not going to be super clear. He's using like security cameras, so it's not going to be super clear. They're finding ways around it so that the clarity on any image that you would get as a sighted person is not going to be great, because what he's using to see these things is not him standing in the street staring up and looking at these tripod things as they're conquering the world. So he hacks into a Tesla. I'm sure Tesla finds that to be great for their brand, that he's able to hack Tesla so easy. Yeah, he's really able to do whatever he wants. And then when the reveal, his boss is like Clark Gregg, and he has this like altruistic battle with Clark Gregg over the fact that Goliath exists. And I don't know, it does some sort of like, it mines data, but it was also the thing that might have alerted the aliens to our presence. There are things that don't make any sense. Like, we see him reroute things. Like, he uses his phone a lot. Even though, like, the apocalypse is happening, he's still able to get cell phone reception. And part of that is we see he's rerouting things through to help people continue to get signal through satellites. But then, like, halfway through the movie, it's revealed that the alien attack targeted the satellites and took out all the satellites. So, like, where the crash sites were, it wasn't that the actual crash sites so much were planned as to where things landed. It's that as they were crashing through, each one of them like destroyed a satellite, something like that. So this movie struggles. Life is a struggle for this movie. So if there are no satellites, then what was he rerouting through? Like, they just don't care. There are people who could have made this sort of entertaining and sort of work, but they don't want to do this movie. Gareth Edwards doesn't want to do this movie. Gareth Edwards is great with doing films. Now we give him films where he has all the money in the world, and he can show you the monsters all the time. But when you look at his debut, part of that was he made a monster movie where the few little scenes that he has with the monsters, they actually look good for what they are. And a couple of little scenes in this little indie gem that surprised people because of how he shot it and how he was able to use his time and his footage. Cloverfield is also another excellent example of the use of space and time and how you're able to make things work and make things happen, and not the whole film is not, giant aliens and visual effects. So but those directors weren't asked to do this. Some music video director was asked to do this, and I don't know why. I don't know who was cast first. I don't know if Ice Cube brought him onto the project or he brought Ice Cube onto the project. Neither one of them should be on this project. I don't know, maybe Eva Longoria should be on this project. I think my favorite characters were the daughter's fine. I mean, there's nothing really that I don't remember what his name is, what the actress's name is, but the daughter's fine. I mean, she didn't do anything that made me angry. It's just the film around her sucks. Devin Bostic plays the white nerdy guy trying to make the black father happy. Like, he's doing a good job of that. He's super nerdy and super white. It's the kind of generic, and for Devin, who doesn't normally get main roles, I totally understand why he signed on to this movie. I'm sort of amazed his career is still going. He was in like Oppenheimer, and I was like, why is Devin Bostic in Oppenheimer? He's still Diary of a Wimpy Kid actor is still going? Okay. Roderick rules. And Clark Gregg is appropriately cast as sort of the, evil politician type guy. So the bad guy-ish here. I mean, the aliens are the bad guys because it's War of the Worlds. So... yeah, this film doesn't work. And it's a shame because there's a version of this film that does work. There's a version where either it's directed by the right person who understands how to make this work with screens and make it look good, and Amazon gives them the right budget to do it. And then there's also, and get the right flow with the right energy, the right cast, and just expand it in the way that they need it. instead of feeling like it's a quick cash knockoff. You know, they just used the War of the Worlds title. This feels like it could have been some like straight to video thing that they put up at Blockbuster, you know, when Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds came out. Like, they put this up there hoping that you would mistake it and grab the wrong War of the Worlds movie and be like, oh, War of the Worlds was in theater. Did it have Ice Cube in it? And it's from like The Asylum. Like, this is basically that. Basically, if The Asylum made War of the Worlds, just with, I don't know, for some reason, a better cast than they would normally get. So, yeah, I really have nothing nice to say about this movie, except a couple of performances that were fine. The plot doesn't make any sense. And it's a shame, because when I first heard about the movie, I was thinking Ice Cube running around on the street trying to save his kids. That could be fun. You know, that could be a fun movie. Or Ice Cube trying to do whatever on the street. But he has to be on the street. The fact that they've saddled him with computer screens is the dumbest decision of 2025. It's like I think Medea's Destination Wedding is going to be my least favorite film of 2025, no matter what. Even this is better. It's shorter, I think. But that has it going for it. It's not a very long movie. But yeah, man, I would have loved to see Ice Cube running around on the street actually fighting aliens. That was a movie I wanted to see. That was a movie I thought I was getting. And even like a bad version of that movie would have been more entertaining than this. I find it impossible to believe that putting Ice Cube running around on the street fighting aliens somehow would be less entertaining than this. That he would feel somehow less capable. I was thinking about his age. He is of the age right now, he's 56 years old. So he's the same age that 30 years ago Morgan Freeman would have been in 1995. So you're like, would Morgan Freeman have done this role? Does this role make sense for Morgan Freeman? Not really. So it's not really even his type of role. Like, Morgan Freeman had just done Red and Shawshank Redemption and was just a few years from playing the president in Deep Impact. He wasn't really doing this kind of thing in 1995. He wasn't really running around out there on the street. He was about to be Alex Cross. You know, other things were happening for Morgan Freeman and around this time period. He had already sort of aged himself into these wise characters of like Unforgiven. Ice Cube is still playing with this dichotomy, trying to keep himself hip, you know, hip hop. He's trying to feel like he's younger than he is. He's trying to stay youthful. But he's also fighting the fact that he's got a graying beard and he's getting a little bit up there in age. So what does he do? You know, and I would argue that Tom Cruise is older than he is and he's jumping from building to building. So get the fuck out there and go fight the aliens. Stop sitting at screens. You are not a screen person. You are, your riz, so to speak, is best used when you have people to bounce off of, when you have people to share it with, not when he's acting to screens. When he's acting to screens, he's not acting to real people. There's nobody there. You know, they're just shooting it, and they're shooting Cube in front of screens, and he's pretending like he's having these conversations, and that's not his bag. His bag, every Ice Cube movie you've ever liked is him plus somebody else that he has to bounce off of. It's the chemistry. Ice Cube is great at having chemistry with a scene partner. He has no scene partners here. None. He has screens. So, it's not like he's not actually looking at these films on the screens. That's not how they shoot movies. They add them in later. He's just staring at the screens, trying to pretend like something is there, and he's having these thoughts and these conversations. And it just doesn't come across as being anything remotely interesting. I dislike this movie so much. I'm going to give War of the Worlds a 2.7 out of 10. I will say that Deluxe and John Bradley did an excellent job with the audio description track, because first of all, they're never going to point out to you the fact that any visual effects suck, but it does a lot of screen hopping. There's a lot of, you know, shaky cam and weird camera angles and all that kind of stuff, and a lot of cutting back to Ice Cube and him having to like react to things as he stares at a camera. You know, a lot of him typing in things, typing in commands into computers, a lot of things to track there. So they did a great job. Plus, I love John Bradley's voice. I think his voice really helps the movie. So if you're blind and you're looking at a great audio description track, this is one of those cases where the audio description track is far better than the movie. The movie got an insanely better audio description track than it probably ever deserved. So, yeah, this movie is a travesty unto man. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.